Welcome to today's money program accelerator lesson. I've got John Lee Dumas here. For those of you who don't know who he is really the guy leading the forefront of teaching people how to podcast. And he's got this other business. We'll talk a little bit about motivation, journaling, setting goals, micro goals, holding yourself accountable. But if you haven't watched the free YouTube video, I put some free stuff on YouTube. So go check out the YouTube video. It's just on Ty Lopez. But then come back here to the accelerator. As part of the accelerator program, you're getting the in-depth, kind of the meat of it. I just put some free stuff there because I like to help everybody. But for those of you in this premium program, we're going to go deeper. And I'm just going to really ask some questions that are super relevant to that I've found as an entrepreneur, some obstacles to podcasting. So watch that basic video if you don't know the basics of YouTube. For those of you, I want to give you a little more advanced here. So, a couple questions that I have for podcasting. Length of time. What do you think? So, by the way, I didn't give you the intro. He went from $0 to $4 million. What'd you do? You publish your income reports.
We do.
So johnleedumas.com, right?
EOFire.com.
EOFire.com, sorry. Do you own John Lee Dumas?
I do.
Do you redirect it to EOFire?
I do.
Okay. So
I
either way, yeah, you got to redirect all that. So that was cool. I didn't know you had learned a thing or two from me, but that's all.
Thanks.
So what are some practical but more advanced stuff? Like, is there a length you find works the best?
A great question that so many people ask is about the length of the podcast. And one thing that I love to point them to is Joe Rogan crushes it with 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
There's a daily podcast that comes out that's 5 minutes long, and
Yeah.
they crush it. So there's no perfect magic bullet. What you need to do is this. Know who you're looking to speak to. Like Ty, you know your audience.
Yeah.
You know that they hang on every word you say, and they will listen to you. Just like Joe Rogan's audience will listen to every word he says, no matter if it's 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
So just know your audience. Know that who you're speaking to, and that's the length of the podcast it should be. My audience, by the way, Fire Nation, they are commuters to a corporate job. They're trying to get out of that corporate America. They want to get into entrepreneurship. So my podcasts are 25 to 30 minutes long.
So kind of like the typical commute.
Typical commute is 27.8 minutes.
Huh.
I try to hit that so they can listen to a full episode on their way to work. Because podcast listeners are completists. They want to finish an episode that they start. So keep that in mind. So for someone like you, if you were asking me, I'd say, Ty, as long as you're willing to talk and you have content to share, then you should have that length of your podcast.
For people watching this who are doing maybe some videos, is it good to just strip out the audio from the video and put it up, or does that kind of create, some of the videos you might be pointing to something or something like? Do you think it's important to do a dedicated podcast?
No, I think it's important to leverage your time, to repurpose your content, because your time is finite.
Yeah.
Yours, Ty, every entrepreneur's time is finite. So you're creating great content in one form, and especially the way that you do it with really high quality audio. You can take that audio out, repurpose it onto your podcast. As an audio only podcast, the only thing I would say is have an intro and an outro that's dedicated to saying, hey, this is an audio only podcast. Our video version is at xyz.com.
So you think we should record an outro and an intro?
Letting people know that, hey, this is a video podcast, so you might be hearing some things that we're pointing at. If you want to actually get the visual, go here.
Yeah. What do you think about, iTunes, Apple's got a big distribution network. Massive. The biggest, right?
The biggest.
Don't they have video podcasting as an option?
Yeah, the number 6 business podcast is TED Talks, where it's just a video podcast about TED Talks, and it crushes.
But commuters couldn't use that.
They just listen to it, because a TED Talk doesn't have to be visual. There's obviously some keynote and PowerPoint slides that are important, but then people that want to can then get to work and then log on and then watch that visually afterwards. So you're getting double the content.
Yeah. So do you think then if you can do a video podcast, it's always better than an audio one because they have a choice of watching video or watching just the audio?
I think it's always better for a number of reasons. The barrier is so much higher to do a video podcast as well. There's equipment, there's lights, there's so many more challenges. There's so much of a bigger file size. You gotta do all of these things. So you will be at one of the top ranked video podcasts because iTunes separates it. So you'll be one of the top ranked video podcasts right away. You won't be going against, the Mark Marons and the EO Fires and the Tim Ferrisses of the world. You'll be in your
But are as many people searching in the video podcast section, or do you feel like you lose a lot of people? Could you post to both?
You post to both.
So you could have a video version and an audio version.
Exactly.
Now, the tricky thing about, let's say for me, and it's a little different for every person watching this, I'm pretty broad. Like, my audience is sometimes like, wow, we're talking about everything. We talked about gun control yesterday to entrepreneurialism to Dan Bilzerian at my house. Do you think, I mean, I feel like you can create a niche that way. Whatever's your thing watching this, whether it's being all over the place or just being technical around one little thing, you find people winning in podcasts, right?
You find people winning. This is what I say for people that are starting out in the entrepreneurship world. You do have to niche because there's so much content out there when you're just starting and you have no audience.
Yes.
You have to become the master of something.
Some teeny can be teeny.
Teeny.
Yeah.
Get those first few raving fans.
Yes.
Build that little bit of momentum, and then you can broaden out afterwards.
Yes.
If you're Ty Lopez and you already have a massive area, you can already start big. You can already start broad. Like, I see you in 3 different categories because you can have 3 categories in iTunes.
Okay.
I see you under health and self-help. I see you under business. And then I also see you under education. Like, those would be like your 3 broad categories that you would dominate.
Okay. So you think because I like that. For those of you watching, I recommend, if you can do video. Video is so powerful. But having an audio version for the commuters and the joggers and the mothers and the single dads and the people who are holding kids and just want to put a headset in.
Laundry, doing dishes.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all activities that people are listening to podcasts. I get people walking up to me, Ty, at conferences, and they're saying, I listen to you in the shower every single day.
Huh.
And I'm like, I'm picturing you naked right now.
Hopefully you don't have electricity. Just electrocute themselves. What about uniformity of length? Is that important, that you're always around 25 to 30 minutes? Or can you have a 2-minute one and then you upload a 10-minute one? Because that's how mine are. Is that good or bad, do you think?
That's good for you because
Okay.
you know your audience. You have just a great variety show. You bring so much different forms of content that people enjoy.
Yeah.
For me, I've guaranteed to my listeners from day one, listen, I'm not only going to deliver you a daily podcast, but it's going to be in that 25 to 30 minute range.
Yes.
Because I'm honoring your commutes. And that's who I'm looking to serve.
Yeah.
You're looking to serve people that are just wanting to consume a lot of different things in a lot of different areas. So you yourself don't necessarily have a time limit. There shouldn't really be any cap. You should start and stop when you feel like you have no more content to share.
Yeah, I always say, the real rule, one of my mentors is a genius guy at marketing. He just basically said, as long as the stuff's good, don't stop.
Don't stop.
When it stops being good and you're just trying to fill time, that's when you get in trouble. So if you can be like Joe Rogan and talk for 3.5 hours. Do you think he's the highest paid podcaster right now?
He and Mark Maron, I say, are probably
Mike
one
Maron.
and 2. And actually Adam Carolla.
I've been on Adam Carolla's twice. He's a funny guy.
He's a funny dude.
He's a quick-witted guy.
So fast.
He is. Have you been on his show?
I've never been, but
Yeah.
I've been to a live presentation.
We did a funny thing with Ferrari. He loves cars. So me and him shot a little thing. He collects Lamborghinis and stuff. But so back to this. So somebody watching, they watch the basic YouTube. Now they come here learning some more advanced stuff. Uniform time, not necessarily important. Uniform, whether it be audio or video, not necessarily important. Uniform topic, maybe even not important. What is the one thing they must do? Is it consistency? I feel like that's the most important.
Consistency is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So let me kind of paint a picture as to why. Let's say you have a weekly podcast.
Yes.
You get a couple people that listen, they enjoy it. They wake up Wednesday morning, they're like, okay, I have a commute to work, I'm not excited for it, but at least I have Ty's show. So they go to their computer, they turn it on, they log into iTunes, they go to your podcast, they click refresh, and then there's nothing.
Yes.
And you let them down. Now, do you think next Wednesday they're going to go do that again?
Right.
You just train them that you don't have that consistent show that you promised them. So consistency is so important.
What's the minimum amount of posts you think?
1 per week is minimum.
Minimum. What's the most?
I like 1 a day is the most.
Can you post 3 times a day?
You can.
Yeah.
But again, you are going on people's phones, on their tablets, and these aren't devices that have massive amounts of memory at this point. So I like to be respectful of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of mine, sometimes I would release 3 8-minute ones, which is like a 24-minute one. But we can certainly, maybe the way to do, I could edit them together or something like that so they're one uniform and kind of have a bumper in between explaining the change.
I like that.
Sounds like the real thing to do, which I love, is experiment.
Yes. So important. And one thing that you do so well is you actually get feedback from your listeners and from your audience and see what they want. Say, hey.
Now, how do you get feedback, though? Because podcasts are a little bit of a bitch, pardon my French, because Apple will not give you your numbers on how many subscribers. They'll tell you your downloads on Libsyn. How accurate is that to know how many people are your subscribers?
It's inaccurate at this point because they won't give you an actual subscriber count.
Yes.
However, if you have or are part of a network, then you do have that. So I'm part of a network, so like I know how many subscribers.
And the
I have.
network is just like how does someone become part of a network that's listening?
So I won Best of iTunes in 2013.
Okay.
So I was invited up to their iTunes headquarters in Cupertino.
Oh, so iTunes has a network?
They have a network.
So not everybody could be in this.
Right.
Okay.
You have to kind of have established a certain level.
Yeah.
I can make an intro for you.
Yeah. How many, not your numbers, but in general, the top tier people, how many subscribers do you think they have?
I'd say between 150 to 300,000 subscribers.
Okay. And the biggest you think are
In the
millions?
In the millions. For
NPR,
sure.
TED
Mark Maron's
Talk.
podcast with President Obama was downloaded 3 million times in 24 hours.
So does that mean he probably has 3 million unique people subscribing to him? Probably more, because not everyone.
Because not everybody was there in that first.
What's Mark Maron's subjects on primarily?
He interviews a lot of comedians and a lot of musicians about their journey.
It's almost like he's like a Jay Leno or Jimmy Kimmel kind of variety show.
Very much like that.
Yeah.
And he just gets raw, though. He's just the kind of person that will tell you something so sensitive and awkward about himself that will then make you want to share something.
Did he get
himself.
President Obama to open up?
Very. He used the N-word on the show.
Who did?
President Obama.
Oof. Treading on thin ice there.
I know.
That's awesome. So, for those people watching, for you watching, and you're in the accelerator, I think the simplest advice is go to the YouTube. There's links. What's the name of the microphone you recommend?
Oh, ATR 2100.
So you buy an ATR 2100. It
USB.
costs USB. It's $60 on Amazon. Mm-hmm. You then
Recording and editing software.
You need, what's the editing software you like?
Audition.
Adobe Audition, or there was Audacity. And then you upload it with a company called Libsyn,
Libsyn. It's short for Liberated Syndication.
Okay, Libsyn. But you're gonna give me advice for video podcasts. They don't give you enough storage.
Right.
Who do we use for them?
Podbean.
Podbean. So if you're gonna do only audio, you can use Libsyn. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna so would I use Libsyn and Podbean or just Podbean?
You can then at that point just use Podbean.
Is it pretty comparable quality?
Very comparable.
And they give you huge amount of storage.
Massive, for like $18 a month.
Why does Libsyn not give more storage?
What the heck's
wrong with that company?
I don't get it.
If you're watching Libsyn, please, I don't want to switch to another company.
But Libsyn, you are amazing at what you do.
You are. I've used you, no problems, except I can't upload videos, which for people who know what I do.
I think they're ditching.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's not talk about people behind their back. It's a great company. I don't get paid if you go to Libsyn. When I just found out about Podbean.
But if you use the promo code FIRE, you get 2 free months.
2 free months. He might be an affiliate.
I am.
We should get our own affiliate thing. I don't make much money for affiliates, not my thing. Now, getting sponsors. Because not only can you use this to grow your business, engage with current customers, find new customers, but you can actually get paid. Let's talk about that for a minute or two.
So when you're building an audience, that audience is listening to your content. So they are growing a know, like, and trust towards you. And so then there's going to be all of these companies that are out there that are saying, like, hey, I'm seeing this podcast highly ranked in iTunes. You know, I know that to be highly ranked, they need to be getting a lot of downloads and listeners. So then they'll reach out to you and they'll say, like, John, like, what is it going to take for us to get in front of your listeners?
Yeah.
And podcasting sponsorships are very unique and their ROI is amazing because it's actually the podcast host that's delivering that unique sponsorship.
It's like radio. It's native advertising, we call it.
And with radio, you get about $5 to $7 per CPM, which is... cost per 1,000 listens. Yeah. With podcasting, you get between $45 and $60 CPMs.
What's the most you've seen somebody, let's say somebody records a 30-minute podcast.
Yeah.
Every day, like you do. What's the most you've seen someone get paid if they have, like, Mark Maron level? And what's kind of the lowest you've seen?
I've seen anywhere from about $10,000 to $15,000 per episode.
Okay.
So you multiply that by 30 over the month.
Yeah, 300,000 to 500,000.
You're doing pretty well.
Yep.
Myself, I'm at $4,000 per episode, so I'm not quite at that upper tier. But I'm seeing those numbers grow as my podcast grows.
But still, somebody watching, if they ever got to that level, that's $1 million a year.
That is $1 million a year. Yes, just with that one revenue stream.
Yeah. And how many sponsors is that? Usually 1 or 2 per episode?
I have 2 per episode.
Yeah. And does it rotate around? It's always the same ones?
It does rotate. I have 8 full-time sponsors, and they rotate.
How many people are you thinking getting 10? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, a typical sponsorship is a pre-roll. So I have a 15-second pre-roll, just 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And then a mid-roll, which is 60 seconds, somewhere in the middle of the show.
Yes. Not at the post at the end.
Post rolls are also offered, but they're not really liked so much by the sponsorships, because when they start to hear the fact that we're gonna listen, but before we're done so you don't see many of those.
What does it take to get to the $10,000 to $15,000 level for people?
You want to be getting about 100,000 listens per episode.
Downloads, and you can see that in companies like Libsyn or Podbean. They tell you.
Yeah, and there's great companies that we discussed.
100,000 per episode.
Per episode.
Per day? In a day or in a month?
Per episode. So you can look at those actual episode stats, and you look at the 6
because it grows over time.
Right. So you release an episode.
Yes.
And then 6 weeks later, you look at that episode number.
So that's the 6 weeks.
That's the 6-week point. So Tim Ferriss will get 250,000 in that point.
And so what can he get, do you think? I mean, not knowing what that level of Mark Maron and Tim Ferriss.
Between $30,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
For that spot.
An episode.
Yeah. And like when Mark Maron had Obama on, I mean, that sponsorship went for who knows how much.
Oh, so they sponsor specific episodes?
Yes.
Do you have to then go out and broker every one of your episodes?
No, and which is why I love the company, themidroll.com.
So themidroll.com is like an agency.
Broker.
Oh.
They have 240 companies that have said, I want to sponsor a podcast. And they match up you with those companies, and they handle everything. So I just get one direct deposit every month from themidroll.com.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to put this in the Knowledge Society labs. We're always looking at stuff. I tend to focus on stuff that can make big revenue numbers, but in the lab I want to focus on things that people can watching, in this program can make an extra $100 a month, $1,000 a month, $10,000, $100,000, whatever that number might be. So definitely like to try that. I think we can get a lot of. Because my YouTube, I got 440 million minutes watched.
Wow.
Last in 8 months or about 9 months, which is almost the most on YouTube. Google told me. There's a few maybe video gamers, but if I could translate to a podcast, that'll be a big one.
And as your numbers grow, your sponsored revenue grows because it's a direct correlation.
Yeah. Do the sponsors want to know your numbers right off your Libsyn or whatever like that?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the beautiful part about having the mid-roll is that they are that validation because they have access.
They can check,
Exactly.
Last thing. This was awesome. And by the way, we're going to put a link below. John has all kinds of cool courses on his website. I'll put a link. He'll know you're coming over from here, treat you right, and from the accelerator. And you've got some free courses and some paid ones.
Yep.
Right? So we'll put a link to his free and paid ones. You decide. Motivation. Let's talk about that for a second. When people aren't making money, this program is specifically on financial well-being for people. You've interviewed 1,200 entrepreneurs, experts, and so on. You said the number one thing you found they have in common is that they're good at setting goals and accomplishing like micro goals and actions. If you were completely broke right now, magic hypothetical world, you had lost everything, how would you use goal setting like this Freedom Journal? We'll put a link to this, another company you started. How would you use this? What's just some practical examples? Would you write, today I will wake up early. Today I will read a book. Like what? How would you kind of motivate yourself using this?
I asked that question, a slight variation, on every one of my episodes. So I have 1,200 answers from 1,200 successful entrepreneurs, and I've formed my own as well.
Okay.
So the Freedom Journal, which you've mentioned right here, it is focused on one thing. Because I think that we have so much distraction in life, and I'm all about focus, which is follow one course until success. Focus.
I like that.
That is where I laser in on. So I think a lot of people have 4, 5, 6 goals and kind of push forward a little bit every day, and then they look forward to 6 months and they haven't gotten really anywhere with any of them. And I know that we all have one big domino in life. one huge domino that if we knock it over, it's like a chain reaction of awesome will start to happen. For me, Ty, it was launching EO Fire, a 7-day-a-week podcast. I knocked over that domino. Everything that's happened since then, you know, the millions of dollars a year that I'm making, all of this is happening because of that one big domino. So I set out to create the Freedom Journal, which is set and accomplish your number one goal in 100 days. It's not accomplish your goals in 100 days. It's your number one goal in 100 days, period. So to answer your question specifically, what would I do? I would set my number one goal, knowing who I am, of launching a podcast. Because I've seen what that did to me. The relationships that I formed with now over 1,200 successful entrepreneurs and growing every day.
Yeah.
The community that I've been able to build, Fire Nation, my listeners, who then I ask them, I say, Fire Nation, like, what are you struggling with? They tell me, and I create the solution in the form of Podcasters Paradise, my podcast community, Webinar on Fire, I teach how to do webinars, and now thefreedomjournal.com, where I teach you how to set and accomplish your number one goal in 100 days. All of those ideas, Ty, didn't come from here.
Yeah.
It came from the audience I built through my podcast.
Yeah. So by knocking that down, it allowed you to leverage out that same base of customers into other enterprises like this. That's awesome. All right. To close this out, I'm gonna ask you guys to answer 2 questions. Number 1, what is the one niche? Actually 3. One niche topic you can start podcasting about. Number 2, what's your hypothesis on the length you're gonna try to start with? You can change it. You can start, especially at the beginning, you don't have many listeners. So good thing about not having many listeners at the beginning is if you do it wrong, not many people know about it. You know, I used to have nightclubs where you don't have a lot of people come to an event, people freak out. I'm like, no, there wasn't that many people there to know it wasn't that good. The worst is when a lot of people come and you mess it up. So start small. So what's that length of time you're going to target? And then number 3, what's your one goal you'd want to focus on for the next 100 days that would open up other doors? Leave that, and that will close this out, and I'll see some of you in the Entrepreneur and Persuasion. We're going to record a couple more. Talk to you soon.